My precious one. Before the noise of this day reaches you, before the world begins asking for your energy, your answers, your strength, and your attention, be still for just a moment. There is something your heart needs before your hands become busy. There is something your soul has been longing to remember, even if you could not find the words for it when you opened your eyes this morning. You did not wake up by accident. This breath was not promised to you yesterday, yet here it is, moving quietly through your body. This light entering your room is more than the beginning of another ordinary day. It is an invitation. A gentle opening. A sacred chance to begin again without carrying every burden from yesterday into the hours ahead. You may have awakened with peace, or perhaps you awakened with a weight already resting on your chest. Maybe your mind immediately returned to the problem you could not solve, the conversation you keep replaying, the person you miss, the decision you fear, or the future you cannot control. Perhaps the day had not even fully begun, yet you already felt tired of fighting battles no one else can see. But pause here. Let this moment become different from every rushed morning before it. Imagine the darkness slowly retreating from the sky. Imagine the first line of gold appearing at the horizon, soft and quiet, not asking permission to shine. The night does not argue with the sunrise. It simply releases its hold. In the same way, there are things within you that are ready to loosen their grip, not because every question has been answered, but because a new day has arrived carrying grace you have not yet seen. This morning, you are being invited to give thanks before you know how everything will work out. That is not denial. It is not pretending that pain does not exist. It is the brave decision to believe that pain is not the only thing present. There is still mercy here. There is still breath here. There is still possibility moving quietly beneath the surface of your life. You have looked at certain situations and believed nothing was changing, but not every movement makes a sound. Roots grow in darkness. Seeds break open beneath the soil. Dawn begins long before the sun becomes visible. Some of the most important work in your life has been happening where your eyes could not reach it. This is why you must not measure this day only by what you can see when it begins. There are answers still traveling toward you. There are moments of kindness that have not happened yet. There are doors you do not even know to pray about. There are conversations that may bring clarity. There are unexpected pauses that may protect you. There are delays that may redirect you towards something better than what you were chasing. And there is strength waiting inside you that yesterday's struggle could not destroy. So breathe deeply. Let gratitude enter before fear has the chance to take the first seat in your mind. Say quietly within your heart, "Thank you, God, for this day." Not because everything is perfect. Not because nothing hurts. Not because you understand the road ahead. Say it because you are still here. Say it because something survived. Say it because hope, even in its smallest form, is still reaching for you. There were moments you thought would break you completely. There were nights when the silence felt too heavy, mornings when getting out of bed required more courage than anyone knew, and seasons when you smiled for others while carrying storms within yourself. Yet somehow, through all of it, you arrived here. That matters. Your presence in this moment is evidence that the story did not end where you once feared it would. You may not feel strong, but strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is simply choosing to rise. Sometimes it is washing your face while your heart is still healing. Sometimes it is answering one message, completing one task, taking one step, whispering one prayer, or choosing not to give up before the day has even begun. Heaven does not overlook those quiet victories. The world may celebrate only visible success, but God sees the private courage it took for you to continue. He sees the moments you held yourself together. He sees the tears you wiped away before anyone entered the room. He sees how often you encouraged others while secretly needing encouragement yourself. And this morning, you do not have to perform. You do not have to pretend you are unafraid. You do not have to arrive in prayer with polished words. You can come exactly as you are. Come with your uncertainty. Come with your gratitude. Come with your disappointment. Come with the parts of your heart that still do not understand. You are not required to clean up your emotions before bringing them to God. A sincere heart is more precious than a perfect sentence. Even a trembling prayer can rise. Even silence can become worship when it is offered honestly. Perhaps all you can say this morning is, God, I need you. That is enough to begin. Perhaps your prayer is, thank you for carrying me, even when I did not recognize your hand. That is enough to open the heart. Perhaps you feel nothing at all. You are listening, but your spirit feels numb. Even then, remain here. Numbness is not rejection. Exhaustion is not failure. Sometimes the soul becomes quiet because it has carried too much for too long. This morning is not asking you to force emotion. It is asking you to make room. Make room for peace to return slowly. Make room for your breathing to soften. Make room for the possibility that this day may contain something gentler than what you have been expecting. You have spent enough time preparing yourself for bad news. You have imagined every possible disappointment. You have rehearsed loss before loss arrived. You have braced yourself so tightly that even blessings have sometimes frightened you. But what if today is not coming to take something from you? What if today is carrying something back? What if this morning is the beginning of restored confidence, renewed direction, or a peace you thought you had lost? You do not need to know exactly how. Faith does not require a complete map. It only asks for enough trust to take the next faithful step. Look at the morning sky in your mind. No sunrise appears all at once. First there is a faint change in the darkness. Then a softening. Then color begins to gather where the night once seemed complete. That is how healing often enters. Quietly. Gradually. Almost invisibly. You may still have questions, but your questions do not mean you are without guidance. You may still have wounds, but wounds do not mean you are without purpose. You may still be waiting, but waiting does not mean nothing is being prepared. There are parts of your life that can only be understood from the other side of this season. Right now, you are standing too close to the canvas. You see only scattered colors, sharp lines, and places that appear unfinished. But the artist sees the whole picture. One day, you may look back and recognize that the closed door protected you. The silence taught you to hear more deeply. The delay strengthened your character. The disappointment separated you from what could not accompany you into your next season. The loneliness introduced you to parts of yourself you had ignored. And the morning you almost gave up became the morning you chose to begin again. Could this be that morning? Could today become the quiet dividing line between who you were when fear controlled your thoughts and who you are becoming as trust begins to rise? Do not answer too quickly. Let the question remain open within you. There is something powerful about beginning the day with thanksgiving. Gratitude does not erase difficulty, but it changes the position of your heart. It reminds you that darkness has never been the entire story. It teaches your eyes to notice what anxiety would have hidden. Thank God for the roof above you, if you have one. Thank Him for the ground beneath you. Thank Him for water, breath, movement, memory, and the ability to begin. Thank Him for the people who stayed. Thank Him for the people whose absence revealed what you needed to learn. Thank Him for protection you noticed and protection you never saw. Thank Him for the prayers that were answered quickly and the prayers that were delayed because your heart was being prepared. Thank Him even for the things you once wanted that would not have brought the peace you imagined. Some of your greatest blessings may be the things that did not happen. The relationship that ended may have saved you from losing yourself. The opportunity that passed may have redirected you toward your true work. The plan that collapsed may have cleared space for a life you were too afraid to choose. You called it failure because you could not see the rescue hidden inside it. But this morning, a deeper understanding is beginning to emerge. Not everything that left was a loss. Not everything that stayed was meant to remain forever. Not everything that broke was meant to be repaired in its former shape. Sometimes God does not restore the old structure because He is teaching you how to build differently. That thought may stir something within you, because there is an area of your life you keep trying to return to the way it was. You keep asking for the old feeling, the old connection, the old certainty, the old version of yourself. You believe peace will come when everything looks familiar again. But what if peace is waiting in what is new? What if the person you are becoming cannot fit inside the life you have outgrown? What if the discomfort you feel is not proof that you are lost, but evidence that your soul is stretching beyond its former boundaries? Growth often feels like uncertainty before it feels like freedom. A seed does not understand the breaking that happens before it becomes a flower. It only feels pressure, darkness, and the loss of its former shape. Yet hidden inside that breaking is transformation. You, too, have been breaking open. Not falling apart. Breaking open. There is a difference. Falling apart suggests that nothing meaningful remains. Breaking open means something within you is preparing to emerge. Your compassion has deepened. Your discernment has sharpened. Your prayers have become more honest. Your heart no longer accepts certain patterns simply because they are familiar. You have started noticing where your peace disappears. You have begun recognizing the difference between love and attachment, patience and self-abandonment, humility and silence that harms you. These realizations did not arrive comfortably, but they arrived for a reason. This morning, thank God not only for what made you happy, but for what made you wiser. Thank Him for the lesson that finally ended a cycle. Thank Him for the truth you were once afraid to admit. Thank Him for the courage that appeared only after you reached the end of your own strength. You did not know how resilient you were until life required resilience. You did not know how deeply you could pray until words failed you. You did not know that your heart could survive disappointment until it did. And now the sun is rising again. Maybe not outside your window. Maybe clouds cover the sky. Maybe rain touches the glass. But somewhere beyond what you can see, the sun has not disappeared. It remains, even when hidden. Remember this when your emotions become cloudy. God's presence is not measured by your ability to feel it every moment. Love does not vanish because the heart is tired. Direction does not disappear because the road is unclear. Purpose does not expire because progress feels slow. There are days when faith feels like fire, and there are days when it feels like a tiny ember protected between trembling hands. Both are still faith. Protect the ember this morning. Do not expose your peace to every voice. Do not begin the day by immediately absorbing the fear of the world. Before you scroll through other people's lives, return to your own soul. Before you listen to opinions, listen for wisdom. Before you compare your progress, remember that your path has its own timing. Another person's harvest does not mean you have been forgotten. Another person's open door does not mean yours is locked forever. Another person's celebration does not reduce what is being prepared for you. Comparison will make you overlook the sacred details of your own life. It will convince you that small beginnings are meaningless. It will make you rush what requires patience and force what requires trust. But today, you are being called back to your own road. Walk it slowly enough to notice grace. There may be a message in the delay. There may be protection in the change of plans. There may be healing in the quiet. There may be an answer hidden inside a simple conversation. The day does not have to be dramatic to be divine. Sometimes the most meaningful moments appear ordinary while they are happening. A kind word at the right time. A sudden idea. A sense of peace about a difficult choice. A person reaching out unexpectedly. A mistake that causes you to pause. A moment when you almost take one direction, then feel gently led toward another. Pay attention to those quiet shifts. Not because every detail must become a sign, but because awareness makes room for wisdom. When your mind is frantic, you miss what peace is trying to show you. So pray for clear eyes. Pray not only for opportunities, but for discernment. Pray not only for open doors, but for courage to walk away from doors that look attractive yet lead you away from your values. Pray not only for success, but for a soul that remains grounded when success arrives. Pray not only for relief, but for the wisdom to understand what this season is forming within you. There is something being formed. That is the hidden meaning of this morning. You thought you were only surviving, but survival has been shaping you. You thought you were only waiting, but waiting has been teaching you. You thought you were only grieving, but grief has been revealing the depth of your love. You thought you were only starting over, but starting over has been returning you to what truly matters. There is a version of you emerging who no longer needs to beg for what belongs naturally in your life. A version of you who can love without losing yourself. A version of you who can be kind without accepting disrespect. A version of you who can forgive without reopening every door. A version of you who understands that peace is not weakness. You are closer to that version than you realize. This day may test that growth. Someone may misunderstand you. A plan may shift. An old emotion may return. A familiar temptation may call you back toward a pattern you thought you had left behind. Do not be discouraged if the lesson appears again. Sometimes life brings the same question in a different form to show you how much you have changed. The test is not always punishment. Sometimes it is revelation. You may respond differently this time. You may pause where you once reacted. You may speak calmly where you once remained silent. You may walk away where you once begged to be chosen. You may trust where you once panicked. And in that moment, you will realize the healing was real. This morning prayer is not merely asking God to change your circumstances. It is asking Him to reveal the strength, wisdom, and peace already being cultivated within you. Say within your heart, God, guide my thoughts before they become words. Guide my words before they become actions. Guide my actions before they become habits. Lead me toward what gives life, and gently turn me away from what drains my spirit. Let that prayer settle. Your thoughts matter. The first thoughts you feed each morning can shape the atmosphere within you. This does not mean you will never feel afraid or discouraged. It means you can choose which voice receives authority. Fear may speak, but it does not have to lead. Doubt may appear, but it does not have to decide. The past may knock, but you do not have to invite it to control the day. You are allowed to remember without returning. You are allowed to learn without living forever in regret. You are allowed to honor what happened without making pain your identity. Yesterday may explain some of your wounds, but it does not own today. Today is new ground. Do not enter it carrying every old label. You are not only the person who was hurt. You are the person who kept loving. You are not only the person who failed. You are the person who learned to rise with more wisdom. You are not only the person who was left behind. You are the person being led toward relationships where you will not have to question your value. You are not only the person who waited. You are the person whose patience is preparing you to recognize what is truly worth receiving. There is dignity in your journey, even in the chapters you wish had been different. Do not shame the version of yourself who did the best they could with what they understood at the time. That version of you deserves compassion. They stayed too long because they hoped. They trusted because their heart was sincere. They ignored warning signs because they wanted to believe in goodness. They made mistakes because they were learning. Forgive them. You cannot enter a peaceful future while constantly punishing your former self. God's mercy is new this morning, but you must allow that mercy to reach the places you keep condemning. You speak gently to others who are hurting. Can you offer some of that gentleness to yourself? Can you look at your reflection today without listing everything you dislike? Can you thank God for the body that has carried you through every difficult season? Can you honor your mind for surviving confusion? Can you appreciate your heart for remaining soft after disappointment? You are not unfinished in a shameful way. You are unfinished in a living way. The sunrise is unfinished when the first light appears, yet no one calls it inadequate. Its beauty is found in becoming. You, too, are becoming. There are prayers you have not yet learned to pray. There are strengths you have not yet needed. There are dreams within you that have not fully awakened. There are people you have not met who may one day thank God that you did not give up during this season. That may sound impossible from where you stand, but your story reaches further than you can currently see. Someone will be encouraged by the way you survived. Someone will feel less alone because you chose honesty. Someone may find hope through the wisdom you gained in private pain. What feels like a closed chapter may later become the place from which you speak life into another person. This does not mean your pain was sent merely to teach others. It means pain does not get the final word. What tried to silence you may eventually become part of the voice that sets someone else free. There is redemption even here. This morning, give thanks for what has already been redeemed. Give thanks for the nights that did not destroy you. Give thanks for the strength you discovered after disappointment. Give thanks for every moment you were protected from becoming bitter. Give thanks for the people who reminded you who you were when you forgot. Give thanks for every small reason you found to continue. And now, give thanks in advance. Thank God for the peace that is on its way. Thank Him for clarity before it arrives. Thank Him for the courage to face what must be faced. Thank Him for the wisdom to release what must be released. Thank Him for the relationships that will feel safe, mutual, and honest. Thank Him for the work that will align with your gifts. Thank Him for the provision you cannot yet see. Thank Him for restoring your ability to hope without fear. There is power in gratitude that reaches forward. It is not a guarantee that every desire will unfold exactly as imagined. It is an expression of trust that whatever comes, you will not walk through it alone. You have been trying to control every detail because uncertainty once hurt you deeply. You tell yourself that if you prepare for every possibility, nothing can surprise you. But control has become exhausting. It has kept your body tense and your mind awake. You were never meant to carry the responsibility of predicting everything. You can prepare wisely without worshipping certainty. You can make plans while leaving room for grace. You can desire outcomes without believing your peace depends on them. This morning, loosen your grip. Place the people you cannot change into God's care. Place the decision you cannot force into God's timing. Place the future you cannot see into God's wisdom. You may feel immediate resistance. A part of you fears that surrender means losing influence. But surrender is not giving up. It is giving over what was never truly yours to control. You can love someone without managing their journey. You can pray for an outcome without manipulating every step. You can work diligently without destroying yourself through anxiety. You can care deeply and still rest. Rest is not laziness when the soul has been at war. Perhaps this morning, your most faithful act is to stop fighting a battle God never asked you to fight. There is a conflict you have carried in your mind for too long. You replay what you should have said. You imagine proving yourself. You picture the day someone finally understands what they did to you. Yet every time you return to that mental courtroom, you reopen the wound. What if your healing does not require their confession? What if your freedom does not need their agreement? What if closure is not something they give you, but something you choose by refusing to live in the moment that hurt you? This is not easy. But something within you is ready. You have waited for the perfect apology. You have waited for someone to become who they repeatedly showed you they were not. You have waited for the past to explain itself. And while you waited, your future stood quietly at the door. Do you feel the shift? This morning is not only about comfort. It is about release. There is a reason your heart was drawn to this prayer today. Not because a mysterious force guaranteed a particular event, but because some part of you knows it is time to stop carrying what no longer belongs in the life you are building. You may know exactly what that burden is. A name may have entered your mind. A regret may have risen. A fear may have tightened your chest. Do not run from it. Bring it into the light gently. Say, God, I do not know how to release this completely, but I am willing to begin. Willingness is powerful. You do not need to feel ready. Readiness often follows the first step. You do not need to release everything in one dramatic moment. Healing can happen layer by layer, morning by morning, prayer by prayer. Today, release one piece. Release the need to be understood by everyone. Release the belief that one mistake ruined your future. Release the habit of speaking to yourself with cruelty. Release the fear that good things never last. Release the idea that you must earn rest. Release the assumption that delay always means denial. As you release, you make room. And what enters the room may surprise you. Peace may not arrive as a powerful emotion. It may arrive as less urgency. Joy may not arrive as laughter. It may arrive as interest in life again. Confidence may not arrive as boldness. It may arrive as the decision not to shrink. Healing may not arrive as forgetting. It may arrive as remembering without losing the rest of the day. Watch for these quiet forms of grace. The world teaches you to overlook small beginnings, but God often works through them. A single boundary can change a relationship. A single honest conversation can interrupt years of misunderstanding. A single morning routine can restore your sense of stability. A single decision to ask for help can change the direction of your life. A single grateful thought can soften the atmosphere of an anxious mind. Never underestimate what can begin today. You do not have to rebuild your entire life before breakfast. You only need to take the next step with intention. Drink the water. Open the curtain. Stand in the light. Write the message. Make the appointment. Begin the task. Rest when needed. Speak kindly. Return to prayer when fear rises. Let ordinary actions become sacred because of the spirit in which you do them. When you wash your face, imagine yesterday's heaviness being released. When you dress, remember you are clothing yourself in dignity. When you step outside, remember you are entering a day that has never existed before. No one has lived this day yet. Its story is unwritten. Do not let yesterday write every sentence. You may encounter something difficult, but you will also encounter grace. You may receive an answer you did not expect, but unexpected does not always mean wrong. You may be redirected, but redirection is not rejection. There is a particular kind of blessing that arrives disguised as interruption. You have experienced it before. A plan changed, and later you realized the change protected you. A person left, and later you discovered how much of yourself you had abandoned to keep them. A dream ended, and later a deeper purpose emerged. At the time, you saw only loss. Later, you saw mercy. Could something in your life right now be unfinished mercy? Could the confusion be the space between release and revelation? Could the silence be making room for a voice you were too distracted to hear? Could the waiting be slowing you down enough to notice what you truly want? These questions are not meant to pressure you into finding instant meaning. Some experiences remain painful even when wisdom emerges from them. But they remind you not to declare the story over too soon. You have done that before. You looked at one chapter and assumed it was the conclusion. You saw one rejection and assumed you were unworthy. You saw one delay and assumed you were forgotten. You saw one closed door and assumed there was no path forward. But the story continued. And it is continuing now. There is still movement. There is still breath. There is still morning. Thank God for that. Thank him before the email arrives. Thank him before the answer comes. Thank him before your feelings change. Thank him because gratitude anchors you in a truth deeper than circumstance. You are alive, you are learning, you are held in love, and you are still capable of beginning again. Now imagine placing your hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm beneath your palm. This heart has carried joy and sorrow. It has raced with fear and softened with love. It has endured moments you thought would stop it. Yet it continues. Treat that rhythm as a reminder. Life is moving within you. Not every part of you is stuck. Even while your thoughts circle the same problem, your body continues choosing life. Your lungs expand. Your blood moves. Your cells repair. Much of your healing happens without your conscious command. Perhaps emotional healing can also continue while you rest. You do not have to supervise every part of the process. You do not have to wake up each morning and inspect whether you are fully healed. A wound closes more slowly when it is constantly reopened for examination. Trust the process enough to live while healing. Laugh when laughter comes. Receive kindness without suspicion. Let a beautiful moment be beautiful without asking how long it will last. You have protected yourself by expecting endings. But anticipation of loss can steal the presence of love. This morning, ask God for the courage to receive. Receiving may be harder for you than giving. You know how to help. You know how to listen. You know how to show up. But when someone offers care, you minimize your need. When someone praises you, you deflect. When rest becomes available, guilt appears. Why? Perhaps you learned that your worth came from usefulness. Perhaps you were celebrated for being strong and forgotten when you needed softness. Perhaps you became independent because dependence once led to disappointment. But there is a new lesson entering your life. You are worthy even when you are not rescuing anyone. You are loved even when you are not productive. You are valuable even when you are resting. You do not have to exhaust yourself to justify your place in the world. Let this day contain one act of receiving. Receive a compliment. Receive help. Receive silence. Receive nourishment. Receive the morning itself as a gift rather than a demand. And as you receive, you may notice resistance rising from an old place. That resistance has a history. It remembers the time you trusted and were disappointed. It remembers the promise that was broken. It remembers the moment your need was used against you. Do not hate that part of yourself. It was trying to protect you. Thank it, then gently tell it, we do not live there anymore. You are not trapped in the old room. You are not standing before the same closed door. You are not speaking to the same people. Even when circumstances resemble the past, you are not the same person. You have wisdom now. You have boundaries now. You have the ability to pause now. You have a deeper relationship with your own inner voice. You can move differently. This realization may be one of the greatest gifts of the morning. Your future is not only shaped by what happens to you. It is also shaped by who you are becoming in response. You cannot control every event, but you can cultivate the spirit with which you meet it. Ask for patience when the day moves slowly. Ask for courage when the truth must be spoken. Ask for humility when correction comes. Ask for discernment when choices appear similar. Ask for compassion when someone else's pain emerges as difficult behavior. Ask for boundaries when compassion begins to cost your well-being. Ask for wisdom to know the difference. The difference matters. Not every person who needs love needs access to every part of you. Not every apology requires reconciliation. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every opportunity aligns with your purpose. Sometimes the answer to prayer appears as the strength to say no. You may have believed goodness meant endless availability. But even the morning sky changes. Even the ocean has boundaries. Even the heart rests between beats. Limits are not always rejection. They can be sacred protection. Today, notice where your soul tightens. Notice which conversations leave you feeling smaller. Notice where you betray your own truth to avoid someone else's disappointment. Notice the places where peace tries to warn you. Your body often recognizes misalignment before your mind is ready to admit it. Listen with compassion, not panic. You do not need to make every decision immediately. Sometimes wisdom begins by acknowledging what you feel. Say, "This does not feel peaceful." Say, "I need time." Say, "I cannot answer yet." Say, "This is not right for me." These simple sentences can become doors to freedom. And freedom may be closer than you think. Not because every external chain will disappear today, but because an internal chain is already weakening. The chain of needing approval. The chain of fearing abandonment. The chain of believing you must stay where you are unseen. The chain of confusing familiarity with destiny. Something is changing. You can feel it in the way certain things no longer satisfy you. You can feel it in the way old conversations exhaust you. You can feel it in the new desire for peace, honesty, depth, and purpose. This restlessness is not always ingratitude. Sometimes it is the soul recognizing that a season has ended before the circumstances have caught up. Do not rush, but do not ignore it. Pray for timing. Pray for clarity. Pray for the courage not to force what is still unfolding. A flower damaged by impatience does not bloom faster. Your life does not need to resemble anyone else's schedule. You are not late. That sentence may be difficult for you to believe. You have looked at your age, your progress, your finances, your relationships, your dreams, and thought, "I should be further by now." But further according to whom? A life can look successful and still be deeply misaligned. Another can look slow while building foundations that will last. Speed is not the same as purpose. Visibility is not the same as value. Applause is not the same as peace. You are being invited to measure differently. Did you become more honest? Did you learn to protect your peace? Did you remain compassionate without abandoning wisdom? Did you return to yourself after years of performing? Did you choose healing even when bitterness felt easier? These are achievements no title can fully capture. Give thanks for them. Give thanks for the invisible progress. Give thanks for the temptation you resisted. Give thanks for the message you decided not to send. Give thanks for the argument you chose not to continue. Give thanks for the morning you got out of bed despite sadness. Give thanks for the small ways you are becoming free. There is a sacredness in unnoticed transformation. A tree does not announce each ring of growth. Yet every season becomes part of its strength. You have rings within your soul. Seasons of drought. Seasons of abundance. Seasons of wind. Seasons of quiet. All of them have shaped you. And still, there is something about this particular morning that feels different. You may not know why yet. Perhaps no dramatic event will occur. Perhaps the change will be internal, a subtle decision made before the world fully wakes. A decision to stop speaking hopelessly about your future. A decision to stop chasing what repeatedly wounds you. A decision to begin thanking God before circumstances improve. A decision to believe that peace is possible for you. Such decisions can redirect an entire life. The world rarely sees the exact moment transformation begins. It may begin in a quiet room. It may begin with tired eyes. It may begin while someone whispers, "God, I cannot keep living from fear." Perhaps this is your moment. Do not be frightened by its simplicity. Many turning points look ordinary until you see what followed them. You are standing at the edge of one now. There is something you have been asking God to change, but the first movement may not happen around you. It may happen within you. The answer may begin as a new boundary. A new thought. A new willingness. A new refusal to return to what diminished you. You have prayed for a door, but God may first be teaching you to stop knocking on the wrong one. You have prayed for love, but you may first be learning not to call inconsistency love. You have prayed for purpose, but you may first be asked to release the identity built around survival. You have prayed for peace, but peace may require a goodbye you have postponed. This is where the mourning becomes more than comfort. This is where gratitude becomes courage. Because thanking God for a new day also means accepting the responsibility to live it differently. You cannot ask for a new season while repeating every pattern from the old one. Something must shift. And deep within you, something already has. You know what you can no longer ignore. You know which truth keeps returning in the silence. You know the decision your fear has delayed. You know the version of yourself that is asking to be released. For a long time, you thought the next chapter would begin when the situation changed. But now you are beginning to understand. The next chapter begins when you do. Take another breath. The light is stronger now. The room that once looked shadowed is becoming clear. Objects have not moved, yet they appear different because the light has changed. This is what clarity does. It does not always change the facts immediately. It changes what you can finally see. And today, something is about to become visible. Not everything. Just enough. Enough to recognize why the old way cannot continue. Enough to understand why certain doors remained closed. Enough to see that the ache you have been carrying is connected to a choice you have been afraid to make. Your heart may already be beating faster. A memory may be rising. A name may be appearing. A dream you buried may be returning with unexpected force. Do not silence it yet. Stay here. Because beneath your gratitude, beneath your exhaustion, beneath the prayers you have repeated for months, there is one honest request you have barely allowed yourself to speak. It is not the request you say aloud. It is deeper. It is the prayer beneath the prayer. And this morning, for the first time, you may finally be ready to hear what your own soul has been asking God for all along. But the moment you name it, something in your life will have to change. And that is the turning point you can no longer avoid.